Good day, Amherstburg. It's myself, Laura D'Alessandro.
And it's Ron Giofu from the Rivertown Times, back here on the airwaves of CKBG 107.9 The Berg for the Rivertown Times Week in Review.
We're going to start this week off with a little something that's been hard for us to handle. We're recording this episode a day early. It's Tuesday afternoon right now because we here at the Rivertown Times have suffered a great loss. Our driver, Ken Pritchard, passed away suddenly over the weekend. Ken and Louise, who are referred to weekly on our show, were our dedicated drivers, and they were a vital part of how we deliver the news. And more importantly, they're a loving part of our Rivertown Times family. Ken has worked for the Rivertown Times longer than both Ron and I, and has been a carrier for several other local newspapers as well. He and Louise married last June, and Ron, Dominic, and I were fortunate enough to share in their happy day. Over the course of the last year, we saw how their love grew and just how happy they both made each other. Though Ken's passing is hard for Ron and I, the hurt doesn't compare to the depth of the pain that we know Louise and the rest of Ken's family are suffering through. We'll miss seeing him every Wednesday, and we'll miss his warm smile and positive attitude. He'll never be forgotten, and we thank him for all he's done for us and the friend that he became.
Absolutely, Ken. Just a really good guy, and I think you kind of summed it up very well, Laura. And we're going to miss him, but we're never going to stop thinking about him, and he's always going to be part of the family, if not only in our memories and in our hearts. So Louise is still going to be part of our team, thankfully, and again, our heartfelt condolences to her and to the entire family. And it's been a tough week, just a very sudden situation over the weekend, and unfortunately, we won't actually see Ken walking into the office, but we won't forget when he did. And again, there's really no other words to say. Just we'll miss you, Ken, and thank you for everything you've done for us and the paper.
Thank you. All right, turning our attention to the news, the front page story this week, well, one of them, you had two on the front page there, Ron, was the annual Ribs and Ragtime at the Amherstburg Freedom Museum. This fundraiser was a little bit more monumental for them this year. This year, the museum is celebrating 50 years.
And as part of their 50th anniversary, they are the council had already passed the motion several months ago, and the signs were officially dedicated on Saturday afternoon for Max Simpson Way. You'll see those signage up on King Street between Gore Street and Simcoe Street. This is an honorary designation in addition to obviously being King Street. So that stretch will also have the designation of Max Simpson Way. And don't worry, if you live on King Street, you won't have to change your addresses or anything. This is strictly an honorary designation, and it was all part of a great night at the Freedom Museum. They had a good crowd outside. The weather was perfect for them. It's an outdoor fundraiser, and they enjoy music this year by Black Orchid, and they look back on their history, in this case, 50 years of history with the Amherstburg Freedom Museum. And we touched on it in the past. We have had stories on the commemorative coin that they've launched. That was also pointed out during the evening's festivities, and it turned out to be just a wonderful night. So, I couldn't stay for the whole thing, unfortunately. It just duty calls and work took me elsewhere, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But again, great night by the Amherstburg Freedom Museum, and just a great event overall, and congratulations on 50 years. But that said, we're still not done mentioning it. They have the Walter Perry Golf Classic coming up. They have a 50th anniversary gala in September. So keep your eyes and ears open for even more coverage of the Freedom Museum's 50th anniversary.
Also on the front page this week was the first ever Fort Malden Medieval Fair, was it? I want to say festival. It was a fair.
It was a fair.
It was a fair.
It's
Festival fair?
Festival fair.
Fairy festival.
It was a fair that strongly resembled a festival. Shall we say that?
It was held at Fort Malden over 2 days. I didn't want to cut you off there. No, I know that you were out, and actually our co-op student, Noah, he was out too, and marveled at the size of the horses that they had. That picture on the front page, the horses looked humongous.
They are very large horses for a very intense jousting competition. There's about 5 or 6 passes, and one of them, where the rider fell off the horse, he's okay. Like, this is just part of the gig, right? So there's a scoring system. They get points for various different techniques and various different things that happen. And I believe you do get points if you knock your opponent off the horse. Everyone's okay. They all had their armor on, and it was just a fun time. You had, in addition to the jousting, there were Zoltan the Adequate, and he ate fire and did all kinds of tricks. And we had cannon firings. We had birds of prey shows. We had, it's not a catapult, but I believe a trebuchet, they call it. Basically back in the day, it flung rocks. They were trying to fling watermelons during the medieval fair. So obviously you can't just launch large rocks through the air at a public event. So don't worry, they did not do that. They had vendors and thousands of people, from what I gathered from one of the organizers, and they plan on being back bigger and better in 2026. So that's good to hear that everything went well. And check www.fairs.ca. That's FAIRES.ca for upcoming events. I mean, there's that was the festival for around this area, but they're going to be up, I believe, near London. I think they go to in September. They got some up in the Toronto area, and possibly as soon as this weekend. Again, check the website for further details. And but first of its kind event in Amherstburg, and it looked like it went very well.
I think next year we put on the roster, we have CKBG RTT face-off on the jousting. Ron versus Terrence, winner.
I don't think so.
No,
Winner takes all.
I joined Terrence in backing out of that one.
Yeah, I'll go on the trebuchet with the melons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
With Ron at the other end.
If we can get those, pool noodles, or what they call them, maybe we can face off with those while standing on our own 2 feet and not on a horse.
On a saddle
maybe that's
horse.
something we can do.
One
But
of those horses you rode with just a stick in the horse's head.
yeah. Just run at each other with pool noodles and
That's my level.
exactly. Yeah, like we won't look foolish at all. Well, then again, speaking for myself only, I'm used to looking foolish. So
It doesn't take much. This weekend was also the AMA Sportsman's Club. They held their annual Bob Meloche Fishing Derby on Father's Day.
That's become an annual tradition, and again, the one-day exemption for fishing along the waterfront at Kings Navy Yard Park was in effect, and I'm sure a lot of folks fished it elsewhere and brought their catches back to the AMA Sportsman's Club and had them weighed, had them measured, and they had a whole lot of fun. They had, I believe that I didn't go personally, or freelancer Fred Groves was in attendance. I believe I know that they had fire trucks and police cars lined up for to have people view them. And again, it's a lot of kids show up to this event, and the Sportsman's Club do a good job and providing kids programming. I know during the year they have air rifle, they have archery at the club, and this is another way to get the youth involved. I know they got the main walleye derby is either coming up or underway. I know that's usually by the end of the month. They have their awards ceremony at the club. So again, the AMA Sportsmen's Association is always very active and promoting the outdoors and the love of wildlife and that sort of thing. And they were back at it with the Bob Meloche Memorial Fishing Derby last weekend, and it looked like a very good turnout. And again, check out Fred's story on page 5 of this week's issue of the Rivertown Times, or check us out online at www.rivertowntimes.com.
You were also at the Gibson Gallery over the weekend. They unveiled their Gentry Gardens exhibit. It's going to be running through from now until June 22nd, featuring the works of artist Sandra Ellis.
And this is what I was referencing earlier about why I couldn't stay at Ribs and Ragtime, because I had to scoot and head over to the artist reception at the Gibson Gallery. And it's always a nice event to cover, and you get to see some great art. And she's got a lot of scenes from around Amherstburg and a lot of her travels to Europe that she's painted, some of it plein air art, some of it from photographs she has taken. So some tremendous fine art. Again, the Gibson Gallery does a wonderful job showcasing the artwork of our community and of the Windsor-Essex County region. Again, as Laura mentioned, the exhibit Gentry Gardens runs through this coming Sunday, June 22nd. The Gibson Gallery's June hours are Tuesday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Make sure you check it out. And for more information on upcoming exhibits, check out gibsongallery.org or call the gallery at 519-736-2826.
The 202 Fort Malden Windsor Regiment Royal Canadian Army Cadets. I nailed it.
It's a mouthful.
I practiced that on the way here. They have wrapped up their year. The final inspections were held at North Star High School last Wednesday night.
It's a lot of work that goes into these cadets, and a lot of the staff, a lot of the officers with the cadets do a great job. They built it up from, I think, they had 9 cadets they started the year with, and the year is like roughly September. Pretty much,
year.
Yeah, pretty much matches up the school year. They had about 9 when it started. I believe 26 was the number they ended up with. So
that's awesome.
The recruiting efforts did go well, and congratulations to all involved with the Cadet Corps. We have a story and several photos on that in this week's issue of the RTT. So make sure you check that out. Cadets are a wonderful organization. I've been covering their annual reviews and a lot of their functions for several years now. I remember the days they had them at Fort Malden National Historic Site. I know they've been up at the Windsor Armories in recent years. And as Laura said, this year they've been at North Star High School. Cadets come out, they get the rewards, they go on parade, they march, in this case, as it was this year, in the gymnasium. And you can really see the work that's gone into them and the efforts that they make, the cadets themselves, improving themselves and really becoming involved. So, again, full story on that in this week's issue of the RTT and on our website.
Carousel Nations kicked off last weekend, and it continues through this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A stop out here in Amherstburg is GL Heritage Brewing Company. They are the Irish Village this year.
And we've got more information. We've got a schedule of some of the events coming up this weekend. It started last Friday through Sunday, and it continues this Friday through Sunday out at GL Heritage out on Howard Avenue. So make sure you check that out. They report to me that they had one of their busiest weekends in 8 years. That's great to hear. Obviously, when any business thrives, it's always a good news story. And I was out on Sunday. They had Alwyn Coughlin, a master storyteller. She was out telling some Irish stories. And I know they had Irish dancers scheduled, and that they're scheduled to return this weekend. And obviously some great music. And obviously the beer is flowing. The food is on hand. It's the Hub Catering Company is one of the partners in putting on the Irish Village. And it's there's all kinds of stops on the Carousel of Nations. So if you're in and around the area, make sure you make the Irish Village one of your stops and hit up GL Heritage.
Turning our attention to sports, North Star held their annual athletic banquet last Thursday night at the Chicharo Club in Tecumseh. Roughly 30 awards were handed out, and this marks the end of the athletic season, or I guess, would it be a season? Athletic season for North Star?
Yeah, they have the
year,
fall season, winter season, and spring season, and this culminates them all. June Buckner was the top female athlete, Owen Scott the top male athlete, and the whole list of winners is on our Facebook site, and it's in this week's issue of the RTT on page 15. And it's always a great night to go out and celebrate the athletic accomplishments of our great young athletes. It's just great to hear so many people, recognize the youth. And I know I got a shout out by a few of the coaches. So, I just want to take this opportunity to shout back and say thank you very much. I enjoy coming out. I'm not much of an athlete myself. I know
Shocking.
I know. Try to contain your amazement.
Stop the press.
I strain muscles, getting in and out of bed. So, so you don't want me out on the diamond, on the court, or on any sports field whatsoever. But many people are actually in good shape and actually, are properly trained to be out on a sporting event. Were celebrated last week, and I should point out, even though we're a 20-page paper this week, there's still one more high school sports story to come. So a shout out to our North Star offset track athletes. They may not have made the paper this week. It will get in next week. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about you guys. It was a great accomplishment. 4 athletes from North Star went to the offset track and field meet in Toronto, and that's still to come. But track awards and a whole lot more are covered in this week's issue of the RTT. So make sure you pick it up from newsstands, a newspaper box, or on the web.
New additions have been made to the Admirals roster for the upcoming 25-26 season. They've added some power on and off the ice.
They have a new assistant coach. They have welcoming back some returning players, and they are obviously signing some new players to get some fresh blood in the lineup. They're looking to beef up their scoring up front. And Fred Groves has a story about that on page 14 of this week's RTT. We're on top of that, and obviously hockey season's still a ways away, but these type of operations at Junior C and above, they're still working. They still got to put a lineup together, get a product on the ice for next season. So we've got full details starting on page 14 of this week's issue of the RTT. Jake Archer is the new assistant coach. He'll join Zach Gervais' staff. So again, make sure you check out this week's issue of the RTT. That story's on page 14, right beside the kicks and giggles. So if you need your Sudoku fix, or your crosswords, or your horoscopes, it's all in one stop. You read about get a hockey story, as you do your crossword. So, yeah.
What could you want?
You can't beat that.
Turning our attention to looking towards the weekend, the Amherstburg Rib Fest, that's going to be Friday and Saturday and Sunday. It's the downtown core, the same obvious footprint as open air. And open air continues with their Friday night markets and things going on around that area of town. I know the Park House, I think you had mentioned that they have some things going on.
I know they've been
the doors are open.
They've got regular programming on Saturday nights. And so after you hit up Rib Fest on Ramsey Street, just head on down to the Park House and
be happy to see you.
But absolutely, please wash your hands, and they have a lot of artifacts. I'm sure they don't want barbecue sauce on them.
Just wipe them on your shirt and keep on going.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything else going on this weekend, Ron?
Not off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm missing something. I'll probably get a call about this. And we got a story on a young volleyball player who played at Villanova, and she achieved a prestigious accomplishment. Items from the most recent meeting of Amherstburg Town Council. A whole lot of stuff in this week's issue of the RTT. Seasons Amherstburg and North Star High School teamed up on a art project, so that's got full coverage in this week's RTT and on rivertowntimes.com. A story on the Rotary Club and what they've been up to and what the Rotary District has been up to. Make sure you check everything out. There's a whole lot of stuff in our 20-page paper this week. Pick up your copy or simply go on the web, rivertowntimes.com.
And a couple of housekeeping things. Canada Day is a Tuesday, so that has pushed our deadline for that July 2nd issue. So the deadline for that will be Thursday, the 27th, and will come out on the 2nd. Our office will also be closed on July the 1st for Canada Day. And also, in lieu of the announcement I made earlier in the show regarding the passing of our driver, Ken Pritchard, we're not too sure what our office hours for today, Wednesday, will be. Obviously, we're trying to piece it together to make sure that all of the papers get delivered to the spots that Ken and Louise would deliver for us weekly. And those, they deliver it everywhere. They were in Harrow and Essex and Leamington and LaSalle, and then all of the boxes we have in town. So bear with us. The office, you may swing by or you may call, and we may not be there because we're just trying to get this together. We're very small, but we're very mighty. So just bear with us in this time as we work our best to get the paper out.
Absolutely, yeah. So if papers are for whatever reason delayed in some spots, or like Laura said, if you find the office closed, just be patient with us. We're working through a bit of a tough time. It's especially tough for Louise, and we're trying to help her out. And please bear with us, and I'm sure most of you will. So just thanks in advance for your patience. And we'll stay on top of it as best we can.
Also, a lot of graduations going on. I know a lot of the elementary school graduations, high school graduations are taking place in the next week or so. So we do have a few grad announcements in the paper this week on page 9. And there's an ad in there from us. If you're looking to congratulate your grad, please give me a call, 519-736-4175. If you get it to me by Friday, it'll go in for next week on June 25th.
Absolutely. So I can say congratulations to your grad, I should say.
In an ad.
An ad for your grad in the June 25th issue. And again, that's post-secondary, high school, elementary, or even your kindergarten graduations. So we're happy to help you out and give Laura a call or send her an email and find out more.
All right, Amherstburg, have a good day.
Have a good day, have a great week, and see you next Wednesday at noon and at the replay at 4:30 p.m.